All right. What's up, everybody? All right. Get rolling. I'll hit you up first on let's talk about captains for the week. And so offensively, Terry, and what a real competitor, man. That's what we talked about with the team today. And he's just kind of always down for the challenge. On defense, it'll be Bobby Wagner, and special teams, Percy. And we thought really cool moments with them this morning, getting ready, for this game. So the atmosphere should be awesome. Get the crowd rocking here at home. So, man, we're pumped and getting closer to go time. Still a little bit to do, but the guys doing well.
Anybody not full go for Sunday?
We'll huddle up with Adam and I just when we're done here, so we'll figure all that out. But I would say the only one won't be Marshawn. So without him practicing this week, we're not there yet.
We did see him on the side field some, but now that you've had a chance to get him in the building and really evaluate him, kind of what's sort of your expectation for getting him involved on the field? Yeah,
we have a plan for that to, kind of first the off the field, first, hey, this is who we are as a group and as a team, even before you get into scheme. And what I loved about him is just kind of finding out more about him, his background, coming up through Cleveland and, his why, and then mixing it into the whole defense techniques he's played, what we have. So sometimes it's as easy as I called it that, we call it this. And so that part of learning the system to get going is big. So he's got a schedule. This part was for rehab. This part was at practice. We're using the iPads to see, some of the replays to call it. So we're just trying to engage him as quickly as we can. So when it does become go time, that there's not, a lag there.
Health-wise, too, are you guys still assessing where he is with the hamstring?
Yep. Yeah, he won't be able to play Sunday.
You guys had some kicker tryouts. Is that a move you're considering making, and how's Austin doing?
Yeah, Austin kicked today, and but yeah, we had this plan from earlier in the week at the end just to go through it, and make sure, see where we're at. So that's why I was running late today. So apologize for that. And but yeah, we kind of had that in the plan to get rolling.
And with Brian, a guy who's had injuries in the past, I guess where are you guys at in terms of managing him, and how do you kind of coordinate something with that and think long term when obviously he's trying to get on the field as soon as possible?
Yeah, it's a fine balance for sure, Sam. And I think at the end you have to trust the player to find out where's confidence, not as much as hey, how do you feel, but all right, if it was 5-1, 5 being perfect, 1 being this, where's your confidence at? Because that allows you to do your thing at full speed when you have confidence to go. So you do have to push it at the practices to really assess where you're at. And then we trust our eyes. We trust him too, and the feedback that he gets. But, it's a process to go through. And each player dealing with an injury, we, think of it in the same way. And where are you and what does it look like and where's your confidence level? And then when we hit all the markers and on the return to play side, that's a big deal. The team's done a good job of knowing when to go and when to not. And so we're always going to side on the health of the player first. And then once they have the confidence to do it, then we return to play format begins. And then once you nail that step, then you're in. So his is a little different where it's not, being out for X amount of weeks and return to play. But we are, mindful of how it goes.
And does it complicate it because these soft tissue injuries for both these guys?
I don't know if it complicates, John. It's customized. Not every injury of a soft tissue is the same. Between a calf and a quad and a hamstring or a glute, all of those are the locomotive to make it go. But the degrees of it and where is it, where are the signals, and at the end you still have to treat the player, not the MRI or what that says. How is the person feeling? How are they responding? So that's, to me, the signal. So not all the same. So both guys, know themselves well. We have trust for them. So we'll definitely lean into that.
And I know it's looking a little bit ahead for Marshawn, but you have a game on Thursday. Does that make it harder for him to maybe get incorporated that quickly or with coming off the injury?
There's been some running. So on the return to play side, he missed some there. How long can we get back? As we go through, we'll have a better probably assessment Monday, ran today, and then what does the next time to run look like? So I just haven't gotten there yet.
With Brian, he had previously had the knee and now dealing with the hamstring. Is there any correlation?
Same side. So that is, I don't know if it's correlation, Ben, but it definitely is a factor to it. But the knee's doing good, and so not the same injury. So that's a good sign.
And obviously you had Chris Rodriguez come in, and you talked about him being ready to go and all that. The fact that he's out of moves, how does that weigh into maybe what you potentially have to do? You do have other running backs, obviously, but he gives you a little more of that Brian style. We'll huddle up tonight and visit with medical side and Adam and myself, and then kind of get an assessment about where we're at, and then we can proceed if needed when we go to that. But that'll be kind of our next operation for this evening.
Good. Got time for a couple more.
Come on. All right. Ooh, one-handed.
Good afternoon. First of all, when you're dealing with a quarterback, so Russell Wilson, you talked a lot about his success. Particularly, he's been really successful deep in the pocket versus shallow or rolling out. Obviously, without giving away any strategies or anything, like as a secondary member, how does that impact your mindset going into the game?
I think, number one, you better be ready for it to come any part of the field. Sometimes when a quarterback may roll out to one side, you can cut that part of the field off where it'll just be only thrown to this side. With him and the arm strength that he has, he can be on one side and go across the field deep, or vice versa, all the way out to his left and going that way. So being on top of scramble plays and keepers and play passes, that's a big deal. But some guys just like to get deeper, to have escape lanes, that are outside. Others, want to be quick, to go in the B gap. So Russ has more experience, on the outside of things.
Hey, Coach. Yesterday I asked Coach Kingsbury about the running back room, and he mentioned Coach Anthony Lynn. So from your perspective, what can you share what Anthony Lynn has brought to the staff and to that room?
Well, they were talking Red Raider love, these two Texas Techers. Man, what is Anthony bring? It's a long list of that, Candy. He's got, one, incredibly high standards, for the entire room. And so it was no surprise to see somebody in those rooms stepping into, spots for responsibility, whether that was, Jeremy, when Austin was down, whether it was Chris, when Brian was down. That doesn't happen by coincidence. And so Anthony's background, his toughness, all of that kind of encompasses what he brings, to the staff, to the team. And I'd say just incredibly high standards for the position, for the techniques. And when you're coached by somebody who's a real expert at something, like legit details of seen it all, done it himself, it does make a difference because they're ready to handle any scenario, and their eyes can tell the story. This is what I saw. This is where he was. I didn't see that cut. So those are important things at the position, and he adds a lot to us.
Take 3 more.
Okay. So not anything that may have made the ESPN SportsCenter highlights or anything. Have there been any plays so far this year where you were like, wow, I cannot believe they just executed that very well?
That did not make it. Yes, awesome questions. There was a last week in the 2-minute, I was getting ready to, see if we could get into position for a field goal. And so Diami breaking a tackle on like maybe a 3rd and 19 or something, like that was not what I was thinking. At the time I was getting into space. Could we get ahead, call a timeout, move closer to get a field goal? So those are fun ones where, okay, it's about to change. You think one thing's going to happen and the next one goes. On the special team side, I love the energy that the kickoff team brings in to go generate some. So those are fun ones on the field, Candy, that you feel this energy that comes from them on the kickoff, and it transfers into the defense a lot. So those would be some things that may be a regular play, but on the sideline, a hit, a tackle by Jeremy Reeves just kind of lights everybody up. And so those would be 2 that come to mind.
They run a lot of play action under center stuff.
Yes.
More than it seems like most teams. What's the challenge defending that? Both the run game and the
Right.
play action.
I think the secret sauce on whether it's in the gun or not, John, is to make those 2 things feel alike. So if it's a play pass and they're a good running team, do I have to get downhill and go hit my gap, knowing that the handoff's about to happen and I got to minimize this gain? then all of a sudden when that turns into a play pass and the linebackers or safety are going downhill for it, and you're able to rip the ball behind them, and that's where a lot of the explosive plays come. Different teams have different ways they do play passes. Some it's out of the gun, a long ride to throw it. Some is keepers, a outside zone team where you can get on the edge to go, and like the Shanahan days covering that here, wide zone keeper. Some are downhill runs, inside runs to play passes that come off of it. So whatever it is, the main thing is to make those two things look alike, feel alike, so the people who are in conflict feel in conflict.
Just a broad question. Last night's game, I don't know if you saw it, but this was another one of those games where penalties, refs, things that were or weren't called became a topic. I think it sometimes feels like people want every single play to be under review, but for you, is there any, like, if you, one or two things, like, hey, I kind of wish this could be part of the umbrella, or how do you kind of see that?
Yeah, every play would not. We'd have the 4-hour game, like had 50 challenges, throw it again. So I wouldn't want that. But I would say when in any time, in any way, if there's an obvious error, and replay assist is getting closer to that, where, hey, this spot was wrong, he can tuck down to the microphone. So I think we're getting closer to that due to replay assist. It's not the challenge every time, but there are guys up in the box that are talking to the referee, that spot's wrong, that's not to here. So I like that, but I would say obvious mistakes. Not every play is allowed to be utilized for replay assist, but the ones, if we could open that up even more and there's an obvious error, even if you're on the wrong side of it, you can live with that, to say, okay, you don't like it, but, the correction had to be made. It was a spot. Those would be the ones for me.
Sam, last one.
Another kind of a broad question. Over your career, whether it be Dallas, Atlanta, I wonder if there's like rivalries between individual players, corner, receiver, tackle, edge rusher, that like stand out to you that you have enjoyed watching the most?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Yeah, probably one of the guys we just got, Julio Jones. That was a pretty good one. Yeah, but it does happen. I would say it's. I enjoy those matchups when you see them because it's usually two of the better of the best, kind of going after it and battling for it. So there's not one thing that comes to my head, but I'll think about that. I'll give you some feedback on it. But I do think that absolutely happens, and like all it takes is that one, to make a difference in a game-changing play. Usually the offensive tackles have the hardest matchup of it. They might block the guy 59 out of 59 times, but that one time, a guy beat him off the edge and they make a, sack or a strip, and he changed the game, and he does. So I think that's the hardest part of it, when you see that. From the receiver side of things, sometimes the best players get doubled or they try to take somebody away. And so when you see real guys battling for it, those are for sure fun things to see. All right, you guys have a good one. See you there. Little rain game.